So we all know how annoying it can be when you're being sort of transferred, if you're calling up a company and you're sort of transferred from pillar to post, sort of through to the incorrect departments. So how could you go about sort of improving that service through the telephone journey, Alex?
Thanks, Daisy. I might flip that a little on its head, because I think that improving customer experience, for example, which is fundamentally what we're talking about, doesn't have to be necessarily complicated. Sometimes the answer can be something very simple. And I mean, it makes my life if things are simple. It makes a customer's life if things are simple. Our customer's life if things are simple. And of course, for the end customer, the caller, that's even better. So if I start with the problem, is that okay?
Yeah.
If I start with a real life example problem that a customer had. So one of our customers came to us and basically said, Alex, we've got a real problem here. The site which houses our call center, which is the main route for all customer queries, the landlord either has a habit of doing unplanned maintenance and turns off all power supplies, or it has been prone to electricity faults, which therefore powers everything down. So this would add extra complexity because they had an on-site PBX, and if they wanted to divert calls, they would implement a programming call forward on the PBX to divert to an outsourced call center, and they would use the same company for out of hours customer answering. So it was a 24/7 service they offered. But if the power goes down to the PBX, then that call forwarding is not going to happen, and customers are going to get number unobtainable, which is in today's world, that is completely unacceptable. And as a housing association, which they are for vulnerable people, it is all the more important that not only can they answer calls, but that they can deal with critically important calls because they're vulnerable tenants.
Yeah. I was going to say, because probably sort of the elderly and vulnerable people would rather use the telephone as a channel of communication with the housing association, wouldn't they? So.
Exactly. And these people tend to focus on people with disabilities or so for people in that environment, there's an extra level of care and duty that they've got. So yes, while we could do something as a long-term solution and make a big project out of it, like removing the on-site telephony system and putting it into the cloud with, 5 nines availability, as we can do through our cloud, that's a longer term project, and it doesn't sort out the immediate need. So as they were talking about the issue that they have, I started up asking about how incoming calls come into the building, and basically they have an 03 virtual number, and the way they were using it was simply this 03 number would point to the call center ISDN lines, and then if they needed to route out the calls or divert them to the outsourced call center, they hit the divert button and off the calls go. So the simple solution was using the intelligent functionality that goes alongside 03 numbers. So what we did was we brought in some programming at the 03 number level, which happens in the cloud, where we basically say, if those ISDN lines or if the PBX doesn't answer, send the calls off to the outsourced call center. So anybody who calls in when the power goes down is automatically routed off to the outsourced call center. Very simple. An extra level of benefit, that means the customer experience is massively improved.
Yes.
They're not aware of any on-site issues.
Yeah. And that call will always be answered.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Additionally, the way under the old working practices, when our customer diverted calls to the outsourced call center, the outsourced partner would only get the CLI of the call center office. So they wouldn't know who was at who the customer actually was who was calling in. Now what's happening is we're passing the callers end CLI. So if they're ringing in from a mobile, we're passing their mobile CLI. That pops a CRM. So the outsourced call center partner can say, hello, Mr. Bloggs, thanks for calling customer XYZ.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Again, it's just leading to a better customer experience.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Excellent. I think that answers. Oh, sorry.
It's all right.
Go on.
Yeah, I'm just going to say a bit more that we've also, because we know we're aware of all the functionality that's capable within an O3 number platform, we've also suggested to them, rather than approaching us or them programming the overflows on, when it's out of hours or on bank holidays on a case-by-case basis, what we've done is we've programmed in a whole year's worth of call diverts. So it's been very simple, but it means they no longer have to do anything.
Yeah.
They just have an annual reminder that says programming the date for next year for Easter, New Year's Day, and so forth. And it is just for me, I think it's just such a great example of how things can be simple.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. And the next sorry.
Yeah. It's just sort of all about like planning and, ensuring that you've got those sort of measures in place to pick up the calls.
Exactly. And it reinforces our passion about having a consultative approach to customer problems. It's not just throw a piece of technology about it, but it's do a bit of digging around, see what they've got, understand what the problem is, because that's critical.
Yeah.
And then you can put together a plan, in this case, a little plan, to say, well, this is how we can address it. It's inexpensive, it does the job, and a whole lot more than you expected, Mr. Customer. And now we've got to the point where we're actually looking at other ways that we can help, not just on the telephony experience, but also the general customer experience, and reduce the burden on the contact center team. So given they've got restrictions in process, and this is a story for another day, Daisy, it could simply be, how can we automatically verify the ID of our callers over the phone before it hits an agent, so our agents aren't having to spend time doing it?
Yeah.
How can we apply that to digital channels like email, WhatsApp, web chat even? And also, rather than an agent having to go through customer service emails and say, having to take time out of what they're doing, read what the email's about, and then say, oh, actually, this isn't for us to do, it's for the back-end team, and then have to work out which team it goes to. Why not do it automatically?
Yeah.
But, I'm not going to cover that today.
We'll do that another day.
Yeah, do it another day.
Cool. Right.